Patterson, the rookie, waiting back in his own end zone, and he will bring it out 5 yards from the end zone. And he's out across the 20 to the 30. Across midfield. Patterson inside the 30, and on the opening kickoff, the rookie Cordero Patterson goes for the touchdown. 105 yards.
When they took Cordero Patterson in the first round of this last year's draft, they envisioned a Percy Harvin presence. And Mark Trestman told us it was Devin Hester who came to him and said, all I want to do is returns.
Hester, 8 yards into his own end zone. And he's in the open field. You got to be kidding. He's got one man to beat and run out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Oh, my goodness, what a start in Chicago.
Is anybody playing special teams in the National Football League? I know these are two gifted guys, but boy, you talk about taking the emotional starch out of you after just returning a kickoff for a touchdown. Nice job setting up, and then the little bit of wiggle and gets to the outside. Just it turns into a foot race. Nice job on the backside, running this down to save the touchdown by Josh Robinson.
Well, Cutler and the Bears on first down will hand it to Matt Forte. And he's bottled up maybe a gain of a yard. Jay Cutler last week in the victory over Cincinnati, 21 of 33, 242 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and an interception. He led the Bears to that come-from-behind fourth-quarter win.
And that was substantial. His comfort zone in this offense. Head coach Mark Trestman told us, you know what, let's wait 5 or 6 weeks to see really how Jay integrates himself into the offense. But it was an awful good start against Cincinnati.
Forte once more. A big gainer here. Inside the 20 to the 10. And run out of bounds by Josh Robinson at the 8-yard line. That'll be a first down.
Minnesota is not a team that likes to bring the safeties down into the box, but you can see right here as he gets through the hole, the safety Harrison Smith was pulled up into the line of scrimmage. That's all well and good to have an 8-man front to stop the run, but if you let a guy like Forte get behind those 8 men, there's not a lot between him and the goal line.
Forte had just 50 rushing yards last week against a stingy Cincinnati defense. Already 24 yards in this one and adding to it. Wrapped up by Robinson, but inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line. And this is the Chicago offense, and last week 3 possessions inside the red zone, coming away with 3 touchdowns.
And one of the things about this Chicago Bear offense compared to years in the past, their willingness to stick with the run, particularly in the red zone. And when you have a versatile back like Matt Forte, that gives you a lot of options, particularly down in here inside the 10.
First attempt for Cutler. Forte denied the end zone. Jamarcus Sanford and Chris Cook saying no. And the tackle just inside the 2. It brings up 3rd and goal.
And we're going to see more of this out of Matt Forte. When he came into the league, he had 60-plus receptions his rookie year to go with his dynamic running style. That kind of tailed off the last couple years. Mark Trestman is going to make a concerted effort. He thought Matt Forte ought to have 60 to 70 receptions on the year come the end of the season.
Butler out of the shotgun inside the 2 on 3rd and goal. Touchdown, Martellus Bennett.
Martellus Bennett, of course, he had a big touchdown reception against Kansas City last week. This is the big, talented receiving tight end that Chicago really hasn't had for the last few seasons, and in the first 2 games, it's already shown up.
And now it's Stephen Paya. Coach.
I'm not going down there.
Ponder will hand it to Peterson, and he is dropped immediately by Lance Briggs. Briggs in his 11th season, a 7-time Pro Bowler. Number 7 Ponder had a rough opening weekend in Detroit. 3 interceptions, could have been 4. One was called back that went for a touchdown by DeAndre Levy after the block by Ndamukong Suh, which got him tagged with a $100,000 fine from the league on John Sullivan, who is in the starting lineup at center for Minnesota. Good to see him back. Ponder to throw, rolling to his left, and just throws it away. Well, naturally, you watch the Vikings, and the first name that comes to mind is one of the great running backs in the history of the game, Adrian Peterson. Matt Khalil felt like he had an off week last week.
He did, and the go-to guy for Christian Ponder, tight end Kyle Rudolph, and of course Jerome Simpson had a career best day, or I should say the best day as a Minnesota Vikings, with 7 receptions for 140 yards last week.
So an early 3rd down test. Pump fake, a lob, and is it a catch by Greg Jennings? It is for a 1st down. Nice throw, nice catch by the former Packer.
Well, he pumps the little quick slant fake and then gets in behind Tim Jennings. That is a tough, tight throw. And I tell you what, we see more of it in the NFL because with the new rules about hitting defenseless receivers, typically in the old days, that thing might have gotten blown up. But now you've got to be very careful about how you hit that defenseless receiver.
Jennings only had 3 receptions for 33 yards. His debut as a Viking last week. And now Peterson spun down up to the 39-yard lines by the middle linebacker, DJ Williams. Forcing turnovers, taking the football away. That's the MO for the Chicago Bears.
It begins with the pressure from Julius Peppers, who had an off week last week. Lance Briggs, 7-time Pro Bowler, and Charles Tillman and Tim Jennings. These are the turnover kings for the Chicago Bears.
Gain of 4 on 1st down, 2nd and 6. Looking for Jennings once more in traffic. Step for step. Tim Jennings last week. Another 3rd down. Vikings converted on 3rd and 13 a moment ago. Bears showing blitz, and here they come after Ponder. Great protection, and Kyle Rudolph fell down in midfield. That's just bad luck. We'd like to apologize for some technical difficulties we've had early on here today. From Soldier Field, we have a lot of folks working very hard to get him straightened out. A little delay to Forte. Slips one tackle from Smith and is able to cross the 10 and get up to the 12-yard line. Now, we know Charles Tillman for taking the football away from the opposition. Laura, we did not know he takes away sideline reporters from getting run over.
Well, it gets dangerous on that sideline, Tom.
Laura Oakland is just now getting rid of that feeling you have when you nearly run into somebody in a car and you slam on those brakes in the last second. Tillman just saving her from getting hit. Back to the big tight end, Martellus Bennett. And he has a 1st down up to the 18-yard line. Laura, you okay down there?
I'm fine, because not only is he a great player, how chivalrous is Charles Tillman? That's what he's worrying about, is saving the sideline reporter while his knee's getting checked out, which it is his right knee. That's what trainers were looking at. The good news is not a lot of touching, more talking about it. He's been running on the sidelines. You can see he's back sitting on the bench, and right now it looks pretty good, but it was the right knee, the one thing the Bears do not want to have anything happen to.
Well, thank you. Butler on 1st down and hit from behind as he threw, able to complete it. Out of the backfield of Forte and up to the 24-yard line. Allen right on his heels.
All right, here's Jared Allen coming off the edge. This is the type of thing that obviously the Vikings are looking for. I mentioned earlier that if the Vikings can get pressure on Jay Cutler with their 4-man front, they're going to be good. But if they have to bring the safeties and the linebackers down and include them in the pressure, the Vikings want to stay in a high 2-deep zone. But if they have to stop the run with the 8th guy in the box or bring pressure, that's going to create some of the one-on-one matchups that Jay Cutler's going to look for on the outside.
Forte, a very busy man, trying to cut it back, lost his footing. And maybe got back to the line of scrimmage, so a 3rd down coming up for Chicago.
You know, we appreciate Laura being light and limb down there. The only thing I have to worry about in this booth is when you shoot me one of those looks when I make a mistake, like I did saying that Martellus Bennett had a touchdown against Kansas City when it was Cincinnati. I think she's got the safer bet than me.
I would never do such a thing.
No, those eyes shoot over at me, man. They
Lord knows,
right
I'm trying to. I've been kicking them all around myself. So here we go on 3rd down and 5. They need to get up to the 28-yard line.
You always want to know where Brandon Marshall is on 3rd down for the Bears.
Cutler with running room, and he will pick up the 1st down. Of course, with all the times he has been chased since coming to the Bears, and he has been sacked with such unbelievable frequency, Cutler has always been a pretty good running quarterback.
He is. He's nimble in the pocket. He's got better speed than you think. Now, he doesn't have RG3 or Michael Vick type speed, but he can get himself out of trouble and get those coveted 3rd downs. He had to do a lot more of it early in his career with this revamped offensive line with Jermon Bushrod, the 2 young rookies that are playing well. He hopes to do less of that.
They got 4 new starters along that offensive line, and Brian mentioned the 2 rookies, Long and Mills, at right guard and right tackle. Under pressure again, and again having to eat it. He got eaten up by Chad Greenway. Been to the Pro Bowl each of the last 2 seasons himself as a linebacker.
Well, as I said, they love to get pressure with their 4-man front. Greenway is one of those guys that can be an excellent rush man when called upon, but also is excellent in a zone drop. Not necessarily one-on-one man-for-man is his forte, but dropping into zone and reading a quarterback is right down his alley.
And of course, no sacks against the Bengals. You're talking about one of the great defensive fronts, if not the best in the NFL.
And Geno Atkins on the inside against those 2 rookies, that was quite an accomplishment.
Michael Bush, his first carry. And it brings up 3rd down and long for Chicago. We take a look at the Bears offensively.
We talked about Jermon Bushrod coming in, the Pro Bowler from New Orleans. Matt Forte, we've already seen his versatility. Brandon Marshall was 3rd in the league in receiving yards last year. And Martellus Bennett, we've already talked about the impact he had in the come-from-behind win against Cincinnati. Get it right this time. And we've already seen his impact on the game. Don't be looking for that.
3rd down and 10. And again, under heavy pressure, flag down. Throw and dropped by Alshon Jeffrey, and another flag comes. Very impressive last week. And they will be playing later today in Arizona. Peterson still on his feet. Lunges forward. That'll be a gain of close to 4 for Adrian Peterson. And a devastating knee injury in 2011. Returned in spectacular fashion last year, coming up 8 yards short of breaking Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. And you see in his career 109 yards per game average against the Bears. Gain of a yard brings up 3rd down tonight on Fox Sports Live. Join Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole. They'll recap all today's action from the gridiron and all over the sports world. It's Fox Sports Live tonight, 11 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And to find Fox Sports 1 on your provider, go to foxsports1.com right now.
Greg Jennings right here in the bunch. That was this 3rd down situation is exactly what Greg Jennings was brought in here to do.
Ponder delivered a hit, took a hit from Briggs.
An alignment or a substitution problem.
Peterson on 1st down, up across the 35 to the 36. Of course, the Bears were the one that took advantage of that sort of sloppiness against a Bengal team last week that for all intents and purposes, walked out of here feeling like they gave one away.
And in our game, these same Minnesota Vikings should have taken advantage of all the miscues of the Detroit Lions with multiple penalties and fouls that could have put them at risk and could have gotten them a road win in Detroit.
Peterson 5 carries 10 yards to begin the afternoon. They're going to throw it on second down. They'll try to throw it. Corey Wooten there to wrap him up. Third down upcoming right now. A game break, and once more we send it to Kurt Menefee in L.A.
Well, your game tied at 7. So are Houston and Tennessee after Jake Locker hooked up with Kendall Wright on a 6-yard score. That evened the count in the first quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
All right, Kurt, thank you. Minnesota 1 of 3 on third down so far. That was on the completion of Jennings. And down goes Ponder. Leveled by Lance Briggs. Boy, they are bringing the heat, and Minnesota having a hard time slowing them down.
Well, neither of these teams like to bring linebackers that much, but that was just a late delayed shot.
Ensuing kickoff. Helping Chicago eventually to score a touchdown on the pass to Martellus Bennett. Wyatt sends in. Bennett with a first down catch up to the 28-yard line.
Well, we've already seen in this game how the presence of the tight end in Martellus Bennett, what a difference it's made for Jay Cutler. Last year, Brandon Marshall was almost exclusively the only guy that Jay Cutler could go to. But the ascension of Alshon Jeffrey at wide receiver, picking up Martellus Bennett in the offseason, and of course the offensive line we've already talked about. This Bear team is significantly different than it was in years past.
14-yard gain on a completion of Bennett, who they feel is their best receiving tight end since they had Greg Olsen here back in 2010. And they hand it to Jeffrey on the end around. And he's into the open field with Sanford to beat. And he runs him out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
You're just going to see this reverse coming over the top by Jeffrey, and we're seeing now the speed to go with the size of Alshon Jeffrey. With he and Marshall and Bennett, we're talking about guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Look at this pull away here. Sanford barely catches up with them and able to push him out of bounds.
38-yard run for Jeffrey. Cutler to throw on first down from the 35. Looking for Marshall. Touchdown.
Like we said, you always have to find Brandon Marshall. Where is he in the alignment? He's right here in the slot. And you can see Jeffrey pulls up. Marshall fights through the hold on the outside. Beautiful air, beautiful timing by Jay Cutler for the touchdown. They're going to have to adjust their two-deep zone defense. Here they got a single high, and this is not what you want to do against Marshall. Jay Cutler comes to the line, and anytime he sees that single high defense, he's going to look for that one-on-one matchup. Last week in Detroit, they stayed almost exclusively in two deep and cut out Calvin Johnson. They have to come into this single high defense a whole lot. We're going to see a whole lot of Brandon Marshall down the field.
Backed up inside their own 5, and Peterson spinning away from one tackle. And picks up maybe a yard, maybe 2, depending on the spot.
Chicago's doing a nice job on Peterson. We saw it last week, Tom, after Peterson cranked off 78 yards for a touchdown on the opening run. Detroit did a good job of getting Adrian Peterson for no gain, -2, -3. You don't see that a lot with Adrian Peterson, and so far the Bears have done a good job.
Fake the handoff. High throw, but a catch made by Jennings, and that'll be a first down up to the 19-yard line. Jennings. Julius Pepper standing on the sideline. He missed a lot of playing time and a lot of practice time this week, suffering from the flu. Wide open across the middle is Jarius Wright. And that's a first down up to the 38-yard line. And right now it's 15 yards. They need to get him going. Potter to throw it. Well, he's lucky that wasn't intercepted. Had an eye on sack line.
Christian Potter's starting off with a tough day, much like the one he had against Detroit. He hasn't turned the ball over yet, but you can see the pressure coming from the side. Wooten running him down from the backside. Now it comes from the inside with Briggs. He can barely get the ball off. Christian Ponder, who is a bit mechanical in the pocket to begin with, needs a much cleaner pocket to be effective.
Patterson, and read beautifully by Isaiah Fry. Fry replacing the injured Kelvin Hayden, who went down with a torn hamstring during training camp. A big blow to the Bears. They liked having safeties after all the shuffling Lovie Smith did at those two positions. 3rd and 15. Ponder, the underhand feed to Rudolph incomplete. Or rather to Gerhardt incomplete. And Minnesota has to punt.
To go to Lambeau Field against a Packer team that is equally 0-1. They look pretty good.
I was curious your thoughts, Brian, after this play about the start of Philadelphia. How impressive they were, especially in the first half against those Redskins last week. Forte for a first down. That'll be up to the 35-yard line.
Very impressive, obviously. The question I have, and obviously they had the high tempo offense. They ran better than 70 plays. Michael Vick got knocked down 20-plus times in that game. That's going to be the key. Can he not turn the ball over? Can he stay healthy with the high-paced offense? It's great to have high-paced offense, but if it means your quarterback's going to get knocked down a whole bunch, that's going to be problematic moving down the year.
And Philadelphia trailing early on at home. Their home opener today, 10-3 against San Diego. First down. And Forte maybe back to the line of scrimmage, wrapped up by Chris Cook.
Mark Trestman's done an excellent job with this Bears offense. And again, one of the things worth noting, Jay Cutler, who's been through 7 different coordinators in his career, the thing he's loving now is that the play caller is the head coach. It's one-stop shopping. Not that it's bad to have a defensive-minded head coach as the head coach or your coordinator calling the play and the head coach is not. But there's direct line of communication from the top guy, Mark Trestman, to his quarterback, Jay Cutler.
Cutler 7 for his first 8 of his first 9. But that one did not fool Minnesota defensively a little bit. That was Marvin Mitchell in coverage and on a tackle. And, you know, they refer to him as a quarterback whisperer. Barney Kosar, going back to his days in Cleveland. Steve Young, the top-rated passer while Trestman was there. Jake Plummer in Arizona. Rich Gannon won an NFL MVP award while Trestman was in Oakland. And then Anthony Calvillo was in the CFL, where Trestman won a pair of Grey Cup championships.
With a 40-year-old quarterback. That's pretty good.
Good bang, good bang. Bad bang, bad bang.
3rd and 9. First down catch by Marshall. Boy, he's hot. To start this one is Jay Cutler.
He talked about the size of these receivers I've already mentioned with Alshon Jeffrey, with Brandon Marshall, and with Martellus Bennett. He says, you know what? That gives me a lot of room to miss when I'm throwing to a bunch of 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guys with a huge span. They can use their body in tight situations like that to get you just enough of a hole to throw the ball into.
52.
Cutler tiptoeing out of trouble and lays it off to Marshall. It's a pretty good pickup on first down to the 43-yard line. Be a gain of, we'll call it 6. 2nd and 4 coming up for the Bears.
We talked about the no sacks last week against Cincinnati, Tom, and when you start 2 rookies on the right side, that's saying a mouthful. They're holding up pretty good today. There's some pressure on Cutler. We've seen him have to flush out of the pocket a couple times, and it really comes down to communication. You can see here Kyle Long really relies on Garza to tell him what to do, and then he turns out and tells Mills what he's supposed to do.
98, 52, 50.
They're going to throw him wide open. Forte out of the backfield. And he is down to the 32. That'll be another first down.
And you're going to see Forte just chipping his way out of the backfield. Just get a wide release. Jay Cutler seeing down the field the coverage that he knew the play was dead down the field. That's maybe the biggest difference we might see in Jay Cutler here in this offense. He knew the coverage was not going to give him the throw down the field. The O.J. Cutler may have held on to it and forced it down the field, but he knew dropping the ball off to Matt Forte. You can see right here, this is a pretty good day. That really wasn't necessarily a screen, but it was as good as a screen, slipping it out of the backfield.
Of course, all those yards last week chalked up by Reggie Bush coming out of the backfield at 91 yards rushing, but 101 receiving yards. Even Joy Bell out of the backfield had 5 catches for 67 yards.
And don't think looking at that film didn't affect the Bears in looking at how they might deploy Matt Forte with the big day that Reggie Bush had against these Vikings.
Forte already ranks among the top 5 in many all-time statistical categories in Bears franchise history. 2nd down and 9. And Cutler runs into his own man. Throws it to Bennett. Out of the end zone. And again, we're having some technical difficulties here. And we're still trying to work our way through them. Cutler 5 of 6 on the drive. And down he goes, and the football is loose, and Robinson has it. And Robinson inside the 20, the 10, and that is a touchdown for Minnesota. Stripped away by Jared Allen, and Brian Robinson goes 61 yards.
Game like we saw, so it's very fitting for the Vikings right now that it's a kickoff return for a touchdown and a defensive touchdown that has them in this game.
First career touchdown by Robinson. And now into the open field, it's Devin Hester streaking down the sideline and slides down inside the 25. Second big return today by Devin Hester.
And you talk about the emotional response to after having given up a sack and a fumble for a touchdown. Again, he starts to the one side, cuts back across the field, and now turns on the Jets. He's going to catch a little grief for getting caught in behind, but that's still a heck of a return. Just the emotional response these Bears needed after the tough sack, fumble, and touchdown against the offense.
So he's had 2 returns, one for 76 and that one for 80. Bush on first down for a yard. Of course, Devin Hester is touchdown. Forte back on the field. And a first down close to the 10-yard line for Matt Forte. And again, we apologize once more for a number of technical problems we are having today here at Soldier Field. It is a 14-14 game. Still playing in a light rain and closing in on 6 minutes and 10 seconds to play until halftime. Forte. Inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Boy, he's a smooth runner, isn't he?
You know, we're not able to show you the replays because of our difficulties, but they're having such, or telestrated, I should say, this counter game where you see, in this instance, Kyle Long pulling and kicking out. The quick inside traps and the counter game is where Chicago is making their money right now.
Second down and 2. The Bears can get a first down inside the 1-yard line. And that appears to be exactly what Forte picked up.
The back of the end zone with the tight end.
They have Bush in the eye. They fake it to him. Batted in the air. And intercepted by Kevin Williams. Absolutely unbelievable. The Bears on this drive running. And Brian first and goal at the 1, and you're throwing the football.
Yeah, and I think the mentality is, you know what, because we ran ourselves down here on goal line defense.
97 red zone passing attempts since his last interception. And now on first down, batted ball. And unable to get it was Jerome Simpson. Second down and 10 for Minnesota. What an unbelievable turn of events. Brian, I have to ask you again. I mean, you talk about selling out on goal line defense from now until the end of time. It's the 1-yard line.
And as a play caller, you always love it. Well, if you'd known you were going to throw an interception, wouldn't you have run it? Well, yeah, if I'd have known I was going to throw an interception, I would have run it.
And now Peterson up to the 28. He'll be 2 yards short of a first down. Major Wright got him right back on the field. After leaving earlier, they wanted to check him out, you may remember, for a concussion.
And now this is the classic situation here. You have a third and relatively short. The question is, are you short enough to go ahead and hand it off and run the ball, or are you going to rely on Christian Ponder to throw for the first? They're currently 1 of 5 on third down.
Ponder's going to run it, and he will slide his way, dive his way to a first down up to the 31-yard line.
Christian Ponder on boots and waggles in order to throw.
First down and 3:10. And now 3 minutes remaining until halftime. And it's intercepted. Tim Jennings led the NFL with interceptions last year, and this one for a touchdown.
Well, outside you can see Jerome Simpson. We said he had a big day last week against Detroit. Ponder just kind of staring that thing down again, going to the outside. That's a late outside throw. We talked about the ability of these Bears to generate turnovers. Christian Ponder clearly going to the outside. Tim Jennings seeing the same way.
He's hit on 11 of 14, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Meanwhile, Ponder, as he drops one off to Jennings on first down, and Jennings still battling for extra yardage. We'll see where they spot this. He picks up nearly 10 on first down. Ponder now 5 of 13 for 61 yards. And the big interception a moment ago there in hurry-up mode. Minnesota with all 3 timeouts remaining. And 2:30 to play until halftime. A very quiet first half for Adrian Peterson. Went ahead 14-7. The fumble by Cutler, returned by Robinson for a touchdown. As Peterson will pick up the first down on 3rd and a yard up to the 42-yard line. And the clock stops, 2:17 to play. That was the Bears who spent a timeout a moment ago thinking they stopped third from their own 42-yard line. Handed off to Peterson. Crossing midfield. Inside the 40. Inside the 30. And he will step out of bounds at the 20. Peterson, by far his best of the afternoon. And he'll get it again. And a gain of close to 2.
That it's an unusual game. We have to keep mixing it up.
All right, first down for Cutler. Fakes one way, comes back the other way to the big tight end Martellus Bennett. And that'll be a first down, a gain of 15. Well, Minnesota allowed 21 points in that second half loss week 1 at Detroit. We were there. And Chicago stormed back after trailing at one point 21-10 to Cincinnati to beat the Bengals in the final stanza.
And you've got to draw on those experiences on either side of the ball to eliminate the errors that brought about that 21 points if you're Minnesota, and repeat the big comeback or maintain it if you're the Chicago Bears.
Well, it worked the first time. It did not fool Jared Allen this time. That went for a 20-yard run by Jeffrey in the first half. Big loss this time.
That's just the veteran experience on the outside with Jared Allen. They've run this little ghost reverse and handed it off to Forte 3 times. Jared Allen knows the next time this guy motions in behind, they're probably thinking they can get this reverse, and he was going nowhere.
And that is a veteran move, isn't it?
Oh, and that's just sheer veteran knowing what's coming down the pike because of what happened before.
Mike 52.
Loss of 8, second down and 18. And Cutler has to just lay it off. And Forte breaks a couple of tackles. Good gain there. Up to the 39-yard line. Will bring up 3rd down and 6.
Those are the kind of gems you love as a coach. The play is dead. They ended up in a very soft 2 deep. Jay Cutler had no place to go. Nice protection by the offensive line to hold it out long enough for Jay Cutler to just try to make something happen. Typically that late into the play, something bad usually happens. A tip ball, an interception. Instead, they're able to get some good yardage to make it a manageable 3rd down and 5.
Good bang.
Easily 24-21, Chicago in front. First possession of the second half here for Christian Ponder and the Vikings, and they give it to Peterson. And that'll be a gain of close to 5 on 1st down. Ponder 6 out of 14 through the touchdown in the final minute. The interception that went for a touchdown. Peterson had a 36-yard run on that final drive of the half, and Jennings matching his reception total from last week in the first half. Play fake to Peterson. Great coverage once more by Jennings. Ponder maybe a fraction late, rolling to his.
Go to the left that much, particularly with the difficulty. You ask him to make good decisions. Don't put him in a tough physical position to make these good decisions.
He'll carry the football and come up short. Now Phil Lodo was saying he slid before he was touched. They're going for it. Ponder rolling, will run, and very close to a 1st down. He may have gotten it by about a foot. They were looking for
35-yard line. He was able to move the chains.
Curious right in motion, and they give it to Peterson. And the ball is loose. Was stripped out of there in Chicago. Does Chicago have the ball? They're saying Chicago Bears football. Midway through this 3rd quarter from Soldier Field in Chicago. Ponder on 1st down. Puts it in the hands of the rookie Patterson. And that's a good gain on 1st down from the 8 all the way out to the 24-yard line. Patterson had just 1 catch, was only on the field for 5 offensive snaps in the season opener.
And again, they've done this a couple times, trying to get the ball out quickly. Almost an extended handoff, really. What we haven't seen yet is him motioning into reverse. We're apt to see a reverse by him at some point. They know the athleticism. We've already seen it with the kickoff return for a touchdown.
Peterson hard running up to the 30. That'll be a gain of close to 6, almost 7 on 1st down, brought down by Collins. Collins, the man who stripped the ball away from Peterson on the last possession.
And you certainly want the fumble and recovery for Chicago, but on the flip side, I think you just made Adrian Peterson really mad, and that's a bad thing.
6. So second down and 4. And Peterson close. Appears about a yard of a first down. Right, let's go back to Angeles again. Joel will keep us up to date throughout the rest of the day. Third down and a yard. They give it to Peterson, and that's a first down to the 35.
This offensive line of Minnesota last week, we talked about Adrian Peterson cranking off that 78-yarder for a touchdown. Really had nothing the rest of the game, and the offensive line kind of put it on their shoulders, beginning with Matt Khalil, who has not had a good preseason, did not have a good first game. They're better than that. This group has stayed intact for the entire season last year. They feel like it's on their shoulders to get Adrian Peterson cranked up and not have these -2, -3-yard gains.
Play action. They fake it to Peterson and then throw it to him. And he is spun down up to the 41-yard line. That'll be a gain of 7 on first down. Well, we'd like to remind you every weeknight on Fox Sports 1, join Kurt, Jay, and Mike for Fox Football Daily. Tomorrow they'll be joined by Howie Long to review all today's games and preview the Steelers v. Bengals in the AFC North. Fox Football Daily, weeknights only on Fox Sports 1. Don't forget they'll also recap college football action over the weekend.
A lot of good football during the week.
And a college game here at Soldier Field yesterday. Illinois hosting Washington. There's the first carry of this season for Toby Gerhart, former #1 pick out of Stanford, second-round pick out of Stanford, and he picks up a first down.
And this is part of the 1-2 punch that Minnesota, if they can stay in this rhythm, this is the game they want to play. Pound, pound, play action fake, maybe make a throw down the field. And it's a close enough game. They're on the road. They're down by 3. This is the kind of game they want to play. They can pound away with Gerhart and Adrian Peterson. This is in their wheelhouse.
Play action. And again, right back into the hands of the man that took the initial fake, and that's Gerhart. So he has his first catch of the year, along with his first carry of the year, and right back in there is Peterson for second down.
And this is where Christian Ponder has to be careful, because anytime he turns his back to the defense for these play fakes, and it's a good thing to do, because when you run the ball that well, that's the best way to draw up the linebackers. But you're looking kind of blind into the secondary. You got to be careful.
Ponder had a wide open jump. They're showing blitz. They get it off. Good protection and a good throw and a catch by Simpson. That is a first down and carrying Bears with him to the 14-yard line.
Nice job. You can see Simpson sits down in that soft zone in behind the safety Conti. He needed to get a little bit more depth to force a higher throw by Ponder over the top.
Big third down conversion for Minnesota. Talked about Simpson. Had the breakout year with the Bengals 2 years ago. Very disappointing season last year. His first as a Viking and off to a great start this year. First down, Peterson bounces it to the outside and wrapped up down to the 10-yard line, a gain of 4.
This is where the commitment of the Minnesota Vikings to the running game, they get into pure I formation and go downhill more than any team in the National Football League. Simple as a screwdriver, easy to draw up, and that's where the play action fakes will come off to hopefully get someone in behind that second level.
11th play of the drive, 11. And on the 12th play, it's incomplete. Defended beautifully there by James Anderson. Wright caught it, had it jarred loose. It bounces into the end zone, and who has the football? Was it a catch? Lots of decisions.
Very difficult to run the ball, hence the turnover.
24-24, and Walsh puts a foot on it. And Devin Hester, a couple of big returns already today. Will get another chance. And here he comes again. Out to the 28-yard line.
And get the ball in behind those 8 defenders for a big play in the passing game.
So now Cutler and the Bears with a football. They're coming after him on first down. Brandon Marshall up to the 32-yard line. That'll be a gain of close to 5 on first down. Been a very quiet second half offensively for Chicago. 4 plays, 20 yards, had a punted. That was after the turnover, you may remember, on the Adrian Peterson fumble. And then 3 plays for a total of 1 yard, as you see the numbers today for Brandon Marshall. Bennett up to the 35. It brings up a 3rd down and 2, and as we're continuing to move forward in this game, final minute and a half of the 3rd quarter, every 3rd down is going to be magnified. It's something that Minnesota was finally able to do on that just completed lengthy drive that led to a field goal.
And the Bears have fallen off a little bit on 3rd down. This is the money down. This is where your quarterback's got to be able to deliver to keep a drive alive.
50.
Both of their last 4 on 3rd down to the Bears. And that changes here as it's Forte run out of bounds by Jamarcus Sanford, and that is a first down up to the 47-yard line.
This is so tough on a defense and so focused on a possible run by a running back. Then you see the play fake, you see him come out of it, and now you try to orient yourself. If you're a linebacker or a safety, where am I? Where do I go? And now all of a sudden, a Matt Forte sneaks out and gets a big 3rd down conversion.
52.
Four-man rush. Forte shot down in the open field by Harrison Smith. It'll be a gain of 3. Exactly what they did, and Forte slips a couple of tackles. And that's the way the 3rd quarter will come to an end here at Soldier Field. 15 minutes of football remaining. Home.
And that last game in Minneapolis was a 14-14 tie when Harrison Smith intercepted a pick 6 to get the Vikings the win in Minneapolis. So they're used to being in this situation.
Pump fake, looking for Marshall. And you just said Harrison Smith. And he has just picked off Jay Cutler at the 12-yard line. And that's all I can tell you. We're trying.
Just listen to us. We'll tell you what's going on.
We do know 14:53 remains in the 4th quarter. And Adrian Peterson on first down picks up close to 3 yards. Peterson now 18 carries, 87.
Have kept him in check. And they do it by keep building this 8-man box. You can see it right there. They got that extra defender down in the front.
2nd down and 7, and Peterson up to the 20-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd. Last drive lasting 13 plays on a 3rd and 2. They're in a shotgun. 13:30 to go. And Ponder finds Jennings left alone. And Greg Jennings all the way up across the 40. A penalty flag comes in late.
I don't know if it was a real egregious one, but it got called either way.
First down at the Chicago 44. Ponder flushed out of the pocket. And he is tackled by Briggs, but not before a good gain inside the 40 down to the 37-yard line. So here Ponder. And 5. And Peterson a first down to the 27-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Minnesota Vikings. First down. Rudolph, the tight end, to the 18, very close to another first 7. We're down to 11:05 to play at Soldier Field. A 2nd and 2. Ponder rolling, and just throws it away. So a 3rd down and 2 coming up. 11 7 minutes to go. Ponder to throw. Or will he run it? And he dives forward. Took a big shot from Anderson. Did he get a first down? It is a first down. On a gutsy carry. It's 4th down and inches, and the Vikings are going for it in this tie game. And Peterson leaps over the pile, and that'll be a first down to the 13-yard line. You surprised they went?
No, because obviously a team that lives by the run, plays good defense, only so much they're going to get down the field. If I've got Adrian Peterson and I need a 4th and inches, I'm going to be comfortable with it. I don't know if I'm going to get down here again. And now that I'm clearly in field goal position, they were going to come away with the field goal ostensibly. Yeah, I think it's a good pick.
Briggs had him trapped in the backfield, and Peterson trying to go the other way, lost his footing. So you go from having the football at the 15, and Peterson trying to reverse field, loses 13.
Yeah, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. He's trying to bounce outside. How many times have you seen him make this kind of play? Briggs doing a great job disrupting the timing of the play. Now it looks like a team picture of the Bears defense. Everybody showed up to get Peterson down on the ground.
2nd down and 23. Give it to Peterson. He is shoved down at the 23-yard line by Paya.
Let him look down the field. If he's got to drop it off, that's fine. But you really have to trust your quarterback, knowing you've got a field goal in your back pocket, to not make a mental error here.
Rudolph down to the 9-yard line. Field goal try for Blair Walsh. Good snap, good hold, good kick. Minnesota in front. Blair Walsh spins it away. And Hester going to bring it out. 9 yards from his own end zone. And here comes Hester. And another big return. Up to the 35-yard line. Can Jay Cutler and the Bears rally for a come-from-behind win for a 2nd straight week? Cutler do it again here today. Great field position after the big return by Hester. And Forte, the gain of 6.
Key 3rd down conversions to get the win.
Backed off on a touchdown reception by Brandon Marshall. They give it to Forte, and he has enough. So Philadelphia trying to go to 2-0 on the year. That's a tight one, and we have a tight one here in Chicago. Forte cuts it back to the inside. And it looks like Guyon stole that football away from him. LaTroy Guyon has the ball in his hands, and Minnesota has the ball. It appeared he just ripped the ball right out of the arms of Forte at the 47. Guyon strips the ball, rips the ball away from Matt Forte. And the Vikings have the football with a 3-point lead. Ponder to a sliding receiver. That's Simpson. First down to the 35.
Tom, I'm constantly asked, why isn't there good, better tackling in the NFL? Well, this is a game of turnovers now. We talked about how the Bears, it's in their DNA. You could see here, he's thinking turnover all the time. They coach it every day. Get your hand on the ball, start stripping it, team tackle, populate the hole. Somebody bring him down, but somebody ought to be pulling on a ball at every opportunity. Chicago's the master of it, but right now, Minnesota's the king.
First down and 10. Peterson lost his footing and got back to the line of scrimmage.
It takes a touchdown to beat you. You've got to balance your play calling between the two objectives.
Peterson clearly in pain on that sideline. They've got Ponder rolling left. That's John Carlson, his first catch of the year. And he's down to the blitz coming. Ponder down the middle to Jennings. catch is made at the 7-yard line. What a pass by Ponder, and it's 1st and goal, Vikings.
That's a big lead pass and a big lead catch, right? He just breaks across the field. He's having to drop this ball into the bucket with a trail defender right on his tail. Fry was right in behind him, and Wright was right on top. That thing had to be exact, like it was on a laser-guided missile, dropping it into the bucket for the big play down the field.
First and goal at the 7-yard line. Back in the hands of Peterson. It was that left hand we saw Peterson favoring on the sideline. Again, the one he had to stick out to try and keep the run alive before sure. Second down and goal. Play fake, looking for Rudolph in the end zone. And step for step with him was Anderson. And on 3rd down and goal from the 4, they run it. And this will force a field goal try to make it a 6-point lead.
And that has as much to do with just what we saw, a timeout called because the clock is becoming a factor. And to now run the ball, somebody's going to say, well, why didn't you throw it in the end zone? Well, if it's incomplete, it's going to stop the clock anyway. Now you're looking there and you're forcing Chicago to use the timeout. The clock is a factor to go along with the score. And now if this is a good field goal.
22-yard field goal try is good by Walsh.
It's a line in what is clearly passing situations. We're going to see how they hold up.
Dump it off to Forte, and Sanford coming up to make the tackle. All right, Kurt, thank you. 2:33 to go. A critical 3rd down. One for their last 5 on 3rd down are the Bears. Caught. A leaping grab by Marshall to the Minnesota 48-yard line. And Cutler trying to get 1st down and 10 for Chicago at the Minnesota 49-yard line. And they lay it off to Forte. And you can't play it better defensively than Robinson. He had help from Xavier Rhodes. And really the Bears really taking a lot of time here.
Yeah, this is taking a long time to get the 2-minute offense run. They do have the 1 timeout left, but they're going to want to hold on to that at some point for a 3rd down call.
Starting to rain very hard again as Cutler throws, and is it a catch? Yes, it is by Jeffrey down to the. And so now they start the clock. 3rd down and a yard. Cutler steps up and delivers to Brandon Marshall. And he is tackled by Smith at the 30-yard line. Bears have 1 timeout remaining. We're under a minute. Cutler looking for Jeffrey. And what a play made by the rookie Xavier Rhodes as he got a hand on. Cutler from the 39. Steps up. Good protection. Bennett left alone. Inside the 20. And that is a 1st down to the 16-yard line. Clock running. 30.
He's going to kill it. He's going to dirt it right away to save that timeout. Get everybody set.
And he stops the clock. 22 seconds. Well.
With 22 seconds left, a timeout in his back pocket. Obviously, it's 4-down territory. So your play calling revolves around 4 chances of not only scoring, but getting the 1st down. You'd like to hold the timeout in your back pocket, but use it if you have to.
Right after the spike. Remember, this is a 2nd down.
Always find Marshall.
Butler looking into the end zone. And once more, it was Bennett at the top of your screen. Jeffrey, bottom of your screen, and Marshall in a slot. Third down. Butler for Martellus Bennett, and it is a touchdown!
Big lead throw, big lead catch. Here you're going to see Bennett slip to the outside. That's Chris Cook, a corner. That's not a mismatch with a safety or a linebacker. That's a corner with a great back shoulder throw.
So now the swim kick. Boy, I don't know if you like this move. Carlson comes up and he is trying to pitch a football to Chicago, take it away. We are waiting to find out. The clock is continuing to run. The Bears have the ball. So that should just about tie a ribbon around this one. Off to the strip by Costanzo on John Carlson.
You can see kind of lands on the Bear player, not being down as the ball's coming out. Bears a hard-earned victory here. You got to feel for the Vikings. They played hard.
They do.
Tom, like we said, I can't think of a single thing